It's with no comics coming out, it's thin on news. Most of the news is all about winter comics coming out. But with May 20th now on the horizon, this idea of what creative teams might start to look like when things get back up and going again, I suspect, by the way, that when we get to about May 15th or so, mid May, a flurry of news is going to start coming out about new creative teams, shuffles that are taking place, ways that this break is going to kind of manifest itself in different ways. But we have a couple of them. Iron Man, Dark Metal, Marvel and Dark Metal? What's this? Let's get into it. Hey everybody, this is Perch. If you know me and you've been following this channel, you know I've been all in and excited about Iron Man 2020, the event of the decade, the century, the event of the century. Well, 20, I don't know. A big event. Dan Slott and team have been doing, this was his pitch. As he talked about in his lead up to taking on the Iron Man book, he was excited to move from Spider-Man to Iron Man. He talked about loving the character and everything he could do there. And very soon that became Iron Man 2020 was going to be his big event, his coup de grace, his celebration of all things Iron Man, where he would relaunch the Iron Man title, then stop the Iron Man title, then do Iron Man 2020, and then we're in the middle of it right now, and the pandemic hit, and we got interrupted right in the middle when it was getting the most exciting. Well, not really, but anyway. News has come out that Dan Slott is leaving Iron Man. He will wrap his run with Iron Man 2020. He said this has always been the plan. Personally, I don't believe that for a second, based on earlier interviews. And you go back and you can point to a lot of things that were said about, I've got a long-term plan. I've got lots of stories I'm excited to do. I've always wanted to do Iron Man. Iron Man's got so many storytelling potential options. So basically, you got to a controller storyline, and then you got to like Ultron Cronenberg storyline, and then you have Iron Man 2020. That's it. Okay, that was your years and years of plans, if you say so. But anyway, he is off Iron Man. We haven't heard a replacement. I kind of wonder about. He is saying he's sticking with Fantastic Four, but mindless speculation here. I wonder a little bit about Dan Slott's Marvel future. Obviously, he's gets on famously with Tom Brevoort and some of the other Joe Quesada, I think, and others that are a fan. He's been a Marvel mainstay, but it seems odd that in the midst of this slowdown, when no other news is coming out, you would leak out that you're leaving Iron Man. That just seems like a weird. Marvel typically doesn't like news to kind of bubble out this way, but who knows? Maybe. So anyway, Dan Slott's off Iron Man. Who will take over? I mean, there's a title. Al Ewing hasn't taken over yet, so why not? Or Mark Waid, maybe, depending on, he's kind of been scaled back at Marvel quite a bit. But there's, or maybe, hey, here's an idea. They could go for some YA author that they're trying to. Okay, I'm just being sarcastic at this point. But you know what I would like personally? Go for a sci-fi author. Go for somebody who, the next. Philip K. Dick. There's lots of people who are claiming to be the next Philip K. Dick. Go for one of those, and let's go for a real sci-fi Iron Man. Why not? Or alternatively, what's Chris Claremont doing? He's getting paid. Let's bring. Why not? I don't know. There's lots of good options out there for a good Iron Man book, and I would love to see it. But anyway, that's the big news from the Iron Man side of the world. Now let's turn over to the world of DC and Dark Metal. And Scott Snyder, during an interview for, I think, the Hero Initiative, or he's basically lets this thing drop. And the news sites all jumped all over it as, could this be DC working with Marvel? No, I mean, the exact quote or the exact comment from that interview was that, as they're looking at the multiverse, as they're looking at kind of all the aspects of Dark Metal and kind of what Grant Morrison set up and everything else, you had these different worlds and these different environments. And wouldn't it be cool if the source wall broke, which happened in Metal, and the Silver Surfer came flying through that? Wouldn't that be a great lead in? And Scott Snyder basically saying that he would love that would be epic. That would be what he would love to do, is to write that crossover, and that's just how he would do it. And who can argue with that? That sounds like a really cool way to do it. I'm not going to argue with that. It sounds great. Um, does that mean it's happening? No. Definitively no. It's definitely not happening. And Snyder says the same thing. That it's way above his pay grade, or I don't remember the exact words he used, but basically it's not happening. But it sure would be cool. And of course, I mean, it sure would be cool if that could be a thing that would happen. But that isn't what they're doing, and unfortunately, no clear signs of that, but it certainly got the news agencies. A lot of people are really saying this Marvel versus DC, or Marvel DC crossover is what's needed for comics to be great again, and that's what everybody should be up to. I don't see any of that happening anytime soon, and for a million reasons, and the million reasons are money. But it's people are waiting for Marvel DC. One, I don't think it would save the industry like everyone seems to think it would. I think that's a bit of a weird fantasy, that if they just could cross over the comics, then suddenly everybody would buy them. I don't know that interest is there. It is different audiences. It's a different vibe that both companies go with. I just don't see it as the panacea that others do. And the corporations that are going head to head, I mean, Time Warner, Disney, I mean, you're having to get their permission to mix their IP like that. Maybe they do it, and maybe it becomes kind of a stunt, but even then, it would come off like a stunt. And what comic readers, if you really want to build huge sales to sustain the industry, you're not doing like a 4-issue, Batman meets Captain America. We've seen that before. It wasn't the huge sales bonanza of other things in the past. What would really make it work is if you had a long, sustained crossover where you got to really dig into what these characters and what these universes together would do. And the parent companies are not going to do that. So, interesting comment. Of course, Scott Snyder would want to do that. Who wouldn't? It sounds like fun, but not an imminent thing we should be worrying about. Anyway, comic news as it's coming out, little bits. So a short little video, just 2 bit of news stories that are kind of hitting the waves today. What kind of things are you looking for, and what would you like to see happen in comics? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch, and thanks for listening.